The basic workflow for Premiere Pro is that we locate clips, we preview them, we set in and out points, and then we insert them into the timeline. Now in the timeline, this will grow over time, and if you need to zoom in, you can either use the scroll wheel on your mouse, or you can drag these handles, and that will zoom in and out wherever that blue cursor appears. So we already know that this is called the timeline. This is the project or the program window, the output. Here's where we can see and edit our footage, and this is where the footage comes from. So I have an audio track, but this also is a video. So I'm going to double click it. And what double clicking the icon does is it throws it up into this source window. And in this window, we can preview it, we can move along it in the timeline, and we can set what's called in and out markers. So if I wanted to use this bomb cloud part of it, I'll set this as the in point, and I'll drag across it, and I'll make this the out point here. And so I've marked my in, and I'm going to mark my out. And you can also see that there's some useful shortcut keys, I for in and O for out. Having done that, these are our insert functions. We can insert, which will put this clip into the timeline and push out whatever is currently in the timeline, or we can overdub, which basically overwrites what's currently there. What's really important too, before we start using these insert or overwrite functions, we need to make sure that the target tracks are set correctly. At the moment we've got video 1 and audio 1. So that's our video, this is our audio for the skateboarding footage. So I'm going to go to this section here and make this my insert point. Now if I make my target tracks A1 and V1, as you can see here, when I go to insert, it's going to insert them here and push out the rest of that track, as you can see. I'll undo that. If I go overdub or overwrite, you'll see the length hasn't changed, and it's simply replaced the footage with what I've set as in and out points. Let's undo that. Let's see what happens though if I change the target tracks. So now I've got a blank track for video and a blank track for audio as my target tracks. So what's going to happen now? You'll see that it hasn't overdubbed the footage directly, it's put it on a separate track. So that's how these buttons work. They're called target track buttons, and that is how we get from the source clip into the timeline. Interestingly, it's had the same effect though. What it's doing is it's putting the footage on top. So just like in Photoshop, we can layer up our videos, as you can see here. So the music track with the video sits on top, almost like a picture-in-picture. And if we were to zoom in, so we're getting down to a much more fine view of the video in the timeline layer there, you can see how it sits over the top, and both work perfectly well. You can have as many video tracks and audio tracks working together as you want to. And that's the basic workflow. So we double click footage here to preview it, we set in and out points, we set target tracks, and then we can see the result of that in the program window.